Welcome back, everybody, to the Chabura. It's good to get restarted back into it. And as I was telling Rabbi Zevi before, things happen, life shifts back to regular schedule, and we had the Yom Neraim. We had the times that we felt very close and the times that were very full of hope. And inevitably, we get back to life. Alzman passes, as says Metshuva, Yom Neraim, and we get back to life, and we were at the highest points during the Ilah, and we felt so connected on Simchas Torah and Geshmak, and then we're back in the winter. It's getting cold out, and reality strikes that a lot of times we're back with the challenges, we're back with the nisaynus, and life is meant not to be in a constant state of dodging the nisaynus and just suffering through them, and just go over us, but rather trying as much as possible to embrace the challenges, realizing that each one is taka, somehow God-given, divinely ordained, and somehow for our best. There was one particular thing that happened this week, and I wondered, there was a 24-hour period where there was a complete mistake. But it was a conjured up thing. I wasn't aware. Someone called me and I thought they didn't. And it caused me so much anger and frustration inside. And I had to work through it. And I even bumped into an old friend that I never really see. And he was mechazik me and he was just saying, it's all so that you should become needy. And you should realize you don't need him. You don't need his email. You don't need his call. You just need the Eibishter. So as I was discussing with my wife, why did I need the extra dose? It was all fake anyway. The person, he did correspond with me and I just missed it. My phone was off. The answer is because it's all the Eibishter, and while we can't make sense and heads and tails out of anything, there's so many different questions and challenges and why this and why that. But the answer is it's somehow all packaged in divinity, in Yad Hashem, and Hashem pulling the strings. And as we get back to real life, when we're not dancing on Simchas Torah with the Torah, and when we're not shrine Hashem Melech after Ne'ilah, we come back here to a real place, back to the world of reality, back to regular daily grind. We always need that extra chizuk to be reminded that all is from the Eibishter, that Hashem is giving it to us for our best, for us to grow, for us to become better from the experience, and for our shleimus. It's not a zaytik isach, it's mamish for our best, for a tikkun haneshama, to bring more light and kedusha into the world. And it's all through these nisyonis, through these challenges. And when we're misakin our neshama, it brings more tikkun to the world, to the shiver kli, to the broken kli of this world. Speaking of broken worlds, a lot of talk, a lot of buzz about the new candidates for the mayor in New Jersey, in New York. A lot of people are upset, a lot of people are sad. This isn't a new phenomenon, and I think from the way I was able to see the Parsha, I think it's amazing how it segues right in. How you have Mamdani and whatever her name is in New Jersey, and B'tachon and Avram Avinu, how it all comes together. And I'm going to start with an incredible Maisa I just read. In Yonah Diyema, Mamdani wasn't the first mayor, is not the first candidate to be disliked with rebels, and everyone's upset. Going back to the late 1700s, King Louis XVI, the last king of France before the French Revolution. So what happened was he was a highly unpopular monarch, and shortly after he came to power, all the citizens, entire France, became upset, angry, and revolted, rebelled, and ultimately they were able to imprison this king, this monarch, King Louis, and his wife, and they found out that he was guilty of treason, and the verdict was that he, King Louis, and his wife, they were going to be eliminated, executed. V'kachava, they were brought to the execution spot, killed, over, finished. But now, the people were confronted with a real ethical issue. The problem was that King Louis and his wife Mary left over their 8-year-old daughter, 8-year-old son. And what was the nidin? That on the one hand, he didn't do anything wrong. He's an innocent little kid. And why should they kill him? Why should they do any harm to him? He's a nice little kid, 8-year-old kid. But the problem is if they leave him alone, like he might prosper, he might become knowledgeable enough, political, and strong enough that he can rise to power, and eventually he'll become the monarch, and then they're going to likely encounter the same issue that they encountered with his slimy father. So maybe they should kill him. Like, what do they do? This was the dilemma. So they got together, they made a coalition, and the verdict, the psak on their child, on this 8-year-old boy, was, we're not going to kill him. He didn't do anything wrong. What are we going to do? We're going to send him out to this remote island, and we're going to give him everything. Everything an 8-year-old can possibly want. Anything he can dream of, from food to activities. These days, skiing, snowboards, hoverboards, charcuterie boards, meat, sushi, everything. Mamash, stuff him, give him all the gashmis, all the distractions, a phone, an Xbox, everything a kid can possibly want. And this way, he'll become so consumed with all the shtusim, with all the futility of nothing, that there'll be no chance that he'll ever be able to rise to power, because he'll just become this fat, dumb boor that won't be in any place of power, and that'll be the Eitzah. Shmak. V'kachava. They flew him down on this private jet to this beautiful island, sunny day, palm trees, and they set up a beautiful house for him and loaded it up, stuffed the fridge and the cabinets, everything with food, and ready. This kid was ready to go for his life, and they got all instructors for skiing. So, and phones and technology ready to go. SCH cameras. And of course, bookkeeping, perfect. Everything was going to be great. As every new thing when it came out. Vayera Yom, 6 months later, they wanted to see how this plan that they devised, how's it going, how's it developing. And they were very shocked. They were very shocked to see what happened, what became of the prince. They saw the fridge was closed. The cabinets were shut. Didn't touch the technology. Didn't go skiing. Didn't go snowboarding. Didn't take the private jet. Didn't utilize anything that he was given the access to. And they asked this little prince. They said, "Are you just beyond depressed over you mourning over your parents?" He said, "No." He said, "So why you didn't open the fridge? You didn't see all the meats and the fish and the imported wines, and you didn't eat all the food, and you didn't do the activities?" And he said, "I didn't indulge. I didn't touch anything, not because I'm grieving, I'm mourning my parents. I didn't touch anything because I'm the son of the king. I was born the son of the king. I am the son of the king, and I always will be the son of the king." And this was a true story, not just a mashal. And it's mamash us. We can get distracted. Hashem gives us time in this world. Get caught up with mamash, ma'bekach shtusim hevel avalim. And Hashem says, what are you going to do? Where are you going to fall? Are you going to stay strong? There's always going to be the curveballs and the distractions and the activities and all the hevel avalim. Are we going to always realize and walk around with the badge of identity that we're the Ben Melech, we're the son of Hashem? And even when it's shver, even when it's hard, this boy was grieving. He was 8 years old and he lost his parents. We realize that we always have the Eibishter and that that's always our identity, regardless the circumstances, no matter how hard it is. And we can always call out to him and always ask him for Siyata D'Shmaya, always asking for help. And even when the world seems to be in literal chaos and turmoil, upside down, and there's people that are taking over, Mamdani, and he's a socialist, it's all the Eibishter. Hashem put him in charge. It's all in his hand, and there's nothing to worry about. That's on a bigger level. But what does that have to do with us? Yes, all the Torah just said has to do with us. We have to always realize that the Eibishter is there for us. He always wants us to call out and realize that we carry around this badge of Ben Melech, that we're always dignified, we're always noble, elevated, we're the Ben Melech, but it goes even weiter. It says in this week's Parsha, when Hashem came to Avram and told Avram and Sarah, you can have a child, you can have a son. What's the pasuk say? Vayera Hashem al Avram, Lama tzachka Sarah lemar ha'af umnan eiled v'nizakanti. Right? Does it mean Hashem said to Avram, why is it that Sarah laughed? When she laughed, she heard that she's going to have this besura about Yitzchak. Why did he laugh? And Avram said, ha'af umnan eiled v'nizakanti. Is it possible I'm so old and I'm going to have a child? That's the Pasha reading of the pasuk. But says the Baal Shem, the Baal Shem Tov, Dvarim Niflaim, life changer. It's it's the Pasha shot of the pasuk, but there's deeper relevance for each and every one of us. Brought in the Mayana Shal Torah, but I saw put down a bunch of other Svarim b'Shem the Baal Shem. The Zohar, which also it's brought down, Avram Avinu is connected to the Bechina of Neshama. Avram Avinu corresponds to the Neshama of a person. Sarah Imenu corresponds to the Guf of the person. Neshama and Guf. Avram Avinu is the Neshama, Sarah is the Guf. Says the Baal Shem, based on this Havana, on this understanding from the Zohar, he says you have a whole different reading in the pasuk. Read the pasuk. Vatitzchak Sarah bekirba. Sarah was screaming inside, but Sarah is referring to the guf, referring to us. And she says, Acharei baloisi. How is it that after I've been old, my guf is old? It's used. It's been squeezed. Haisali Edna. The guf is still talking and saying, Haisali Edna. How is it possible that I'm going to come out at Tchias HaMesim? Edna means refreshed. Ra'anana means renew, invigorated. How is it possible that my guf, which is so used, it fell with nisyonis, to temptations, to the challenges, it didn't rise to the occasion? How is it possible that Haisa li Edna, that me, the guf, is going to rise in the time of Tchias HaMesim? How am I going to be Zoiche? Why? V'adoini zakein. Because my master, referring to the Yetzer Hara, is Zaken. He's very old. He's been around Mikadem for the beginning of creation, and he knows all the tricks. And he tripped me, and every time I fell. And with all my nisanis and all the package and all the shortcomings and all the failings, I feel like I'm useless. I feel like I have no hope. That's what the Guf says. So what does Hashem say back? Vayera Hashem el Avram. Avram is referring to the neshama of a person. The neshama says back, no. Ha'af umnam elid. Ha'af umnam elid means referring to Hashem. Hashem creates, is constantly renewing and creating new neshamas. Elid, I'm always creating new. And that's the neshama talking. The neshama saying, I always have the ability to be mechadish. I always have the ability to renew and feel the sense of purpose. And fears to the pasuk. What does the neshama say? What does Hashem say? Va'ani, referring to Hashem in the neshama way, zakanti. I'm older than your tricks of the Yetzer Hara. As much as the Yetzer Hara is bogging you down, as much as the Yetzer Hara is saying that you're noisvarf, that you're lo yitzchak, that you can't do it, that you've failed, that you have a terrible track record, a bad history. Ani zakanti, referring to the neshama. Hashem said, I created a neshama. I'm way earlier. I created the obstacle. I created the nisaynus. And Hashem says, I'm bigger, I'm better. I created your problems, and realize that it's me behind everything. And when you realize that, that's what the pasuk is saying. When you realize that, it's all the Eibishter. And Hashem doesn't give a problem, He doesn't give a challenge to anyone that's bigger than He can handle. No package is ever bigger than a person can hold, than he can handle. And when we realize that, going back to this mashal, to the story with King Louis, we're put out in this random island and we have all these designs and these distractions. Are we going to fall to all the temptations, to the sushi and the boards and the money and the distractions and the nisaynus and the challenges in our bitachon and get shaken and lost? Or are we going to say, I'm better? Aniza Kanti, the Ebishah says, I put it all in front of you. I'm older than that, and I'm doing it to make you better. That's the aside. Or we can be like the kid, like King Louis's son, who said, persevered. He says, I don't need this garbage. This is junk. This is the chazer treif. This isn't me. This is... How do we respond? How do we react when we're in these situations, these challenges that Hashem says, are we going to succumb? Or are we going to identify? Is it going to resonate with us that Hashem says, Ani zakanti, don't worry about all the challenges. Don't worry, just remember, Ani zakanti, I'm older, I created it. And if you think it's too heavy, it's not, because I can't. I will not give you something too heavy, and I'm holding and carrying through. That zikr applies on personal levels as whatever we're facing. Personally, over here, whatever the nisayonos are, money, parnasa, we're not learning enough, our family, mishpacha, daigas, it's all ani zakanti. The Eibishter, and we got to just channel all to the Eibishter. When it comes to bigger things, macro level, Mamdani, he's a socialist, swastikas, but ani zakanti. The Eibishter, I have it all. I'm carrying you. And if you realize when we channel all of our angst and worry and fear and anxiety, what's going to be? Do we just pick up and move to Florida because that's what people? We moved. Hashem is there too. Hashem's in charge of Florida too, and Hashem could do anything there. It's all the Eibishter. We realize Vani Zakanti, Hashem is the oldest. He's the beginning of everything. And when we attach ourselves to that, may we be able to get through whatever challenge, whatever nisayon, whatever struggle, and always connect ourselves to the highest source of Eibishter. May He give us bracha, batzlacha, back in real life, in everything and anything that we do.